Doctors.
The microphone.
We are live.
We're ready.
I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Escalon Planning Commission. Everyone rise, say the pledge. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we take roll?
Commission Chair Dunbar.
Here.
Commission Vice Chair Thompson. Here. Commissioner Willis. Here. Commissioner Castellanos.
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez. Here.
I'd like to welcome everyone to this meeting. If you have a cell phone, which probably is everyone, please put it on mute or vibrate unless you are a on-duty first responder. Looking at our consent calendar, the only thing I see on it is our minutes from the last meeting. Is there any discussion of the minutes?
I move that we approve the minutes.
I second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. On the first item on our agenda, let me get there. We have a staff report. Before we begin that, I would like to ask if there are any conflict statements. I will start. I live in the neighborhood in which these properties are located, but I'm well beyond 500 feet, and I have no interest, monetary or personal, beyond what any other person would have within the community. Any other conflict statements? Okay, with that, can we proceed to the staff report?
Thank you, Chair. Before you tonight is a vesting tentative parcel map application for 1524 and 1531 Catherine Way. The applicants McRoy Wilbur Communities, represented by Ian Wilbur. The project occurs in the R1 low-density residential zoning district, and the request is to subdivide two parcels totaling approximately 33,000 square feet into three new lots ranging from high 10,000 square feet to about 11,500 square feet. Each new lot would exceed our minimum size requirements, and the proposed single-story homes meet the zoning code requirements. The existing mobile home, shed, well, and septic tank on site would be demolished or abandoned for the new construction. And when the Swanson Estates subdivision was created around these lots, it was pre-planned for these to become three lots one day, as water, sewer, utilities are already stubbed to each lot. So no construction in the street or public right-of-way is needed. This project's consistent with the general plan. The building sites are suitable for constructing homes that meet the municipal code, and the project is CEQA exempt. This was advertised for a public hearing, so Planning Commission should open the public hearing and accept any public comments, close the public hearing, and then if the Planning Commission determines to approve the application, you would approve the application with the conditions of approval, find that the project meets the findings, and direct staff to file a CEQA notice of exemption. Staff's available if you have any questions. The applicant, Mr. Wilbur, is also in the audience if you have any questions of him.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments from the commission?
Just one.
Not yet.
Okay. chair will at this time open a public hearing on this issue. Hearing is open. If you have questions or comments about this project, please step forward. And if there are any online, please let us know.
I'm assuming this is for the people coming up here. My name is Ron Cowan, and I live almost across the street from this lot. I understand that when Grant first began building the houses, it was designated as a 3-lot plot of ground. But the people that owned it at the time, I understand, refused to sell. So whenever I discovered that it was in a 2-lot, I thought, well, at least it'll be a nice scenery for us to look at when we look out our window. But I'm happier now that it's going to be a 3-lot. I understand it's going to be 1-story homes. I don't know what the square footage would be. I'm in hopes it matches the rest of the neighborhood. So if it comes up later of what these houses will look like, I would be very appreciative. But looking out our window for the last 45 years at this piece of ground has really been an eyesore that we just accepted because it was there before we moved. The lady that originally was in the trailer died. I understand she was the wife of the butcher here at one time. But after she left, it was rented out and just seemed to fall in more ruin rather than having something fixed up. The shed that's there, I guess it's a garage and maybe is an eyesore. The trailer is an eyesore because it probably built in 1810. That's supposed to be a nasty joke. But I'd like to say that I'm very much in favor of this being divided into 3 lots. I would like to know when the construction might begin, and I hope I don't die of old age before it does. But my biggest concern is, what will these houses look like? Will they be as aesthetically beautiful as the rest of the neighborhood is? Thank you very much.
I think if you look up to the screen right there,
Oh.
that's an example of them.
And do you have any idea what the price range would be for these homes?
I think
That's
that's
still up for
market
grabs?
rate is what we are being told.
We have the applicant here who can answer those questions if he chooses.
Okay. Well, they look like they would be fine for the neighborhood. And like I said before, I'm repeating myself, it would be wonderful to have this lot covered with homes, beautiful homes with manicured yards, et cetera, et cetera. And yes, I am for a 3-lot parcel of ground. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there,
Good evening. I'm Ian Wilbur. I am the applicant for this. So I just want to give a little kind of brief history about who I am and where we come from as a builder. My dad started our company back in the mid-'80s, and we've just been a family-owned company ever since. We used to have, close to, I think, 40 employees. Now it's just 3 of us. And so we're just working on small projects. We're not in the business of trying to gain a buck. We just want to sustain ourselves and build a good quality product that's, affordable and considering what today's affordability is. But we're excited about this, and so far the city has been great to work with on what we've had to submit so far. As far as the community goes, asking about what pricing is going to be, we don't have anything set at the moment, but it will be market rate. We anticipate something in the high 5s to low 6s as a base price. There will be customizations available, and then, as you add more customization, the price will go up. But they'll be very nice. So 10-foot ceilings, nice features on the inside where you can customize cabinets, baseboards, doors, hardware, flooring, pretty much anything. And so that'll all be dependent on the buyer when they decide that they want to buy the house. They'll be able to pick all their interior options. The city will have a say on, exterior colors and things like that. We'll submit what we want the roof and color schemes to look like, and then the city will give their approval on that. But that's pretty much about it. And so we just are excited to work with the city and hope this is able to go through.
How large is the home? Did you anticipate?
So we have 4 plans. So as of right now, we were going to do our 2,118 square foot plans and our 2,105 square foot plans, but we have two other ones that are a little bit smaller. The ones we have in mind are 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom, and a 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath. The other ones are 3-bedroom, a 3-bath, and a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Once again, kind of dictate if somebody is interested in one of our smaller plans before we start construction. We're not opposed to doing one of the smaller plans, but as you know, market goes, typically a 4-bedroom is more desirable than a 3-bedroom. And then you'll see on the plot maps there too, we have decided to kind of push them over to the side of each lot to leave room on the side if somebody needs to, you know, extra parking. There's even room if somebody wanted to do an ADU in the back. So we just try to, you know, make it as nice and roomy as possible for everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hold on, I'm sorry. I have one question. It's a minor question, but it says in the staff report that the septic tank will be destroyed.
Yes.
Since this is my first encounter with a destroyed septic tank, how does that work? What happens?
So I can't remember the name of the company that'll come in and do it. They basically will come out and remove it completely. Sometimes, depending on the size, they'll fill them with concrete and leave them, but this one's going to be completely removed. And then the well will be filled and abandoned, and so. Yep. And then just also for reference, our company also did the houses back in the mid-'90s across from the golf course over off of Libby, and I think there's about 50 homes over there that we did, but those were ours. So.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments from the audience? Oh, I see. Please come up.
Hi, I'm Kimberly Caskey, and I'm a longtime homeowner, one of the original owners in the grant project. And I'm very impressed with Ian. I talked to him in person, not in person, on the phone. I'm impressed with the plans. I'm impressed by the city. I came a couple of weeks ago and asked for plans, and they showed me the plans. I'm impressed with the way I can't remember the word, but the foundation and the looks of the house tying in with the rest of the neighborhood. But as a longtime owner, my question is really related to the septic. You look at the lot, there's a walnut tree that has been there established for years. It has always sunk down low. And I don't know where the septic is located, but my concern is when they do the leveling, to be very aware of that long-time low spot. I imagine the surveyors, I was very impressed with the surveying team too, will take care of that because it becomes a problem for mosquito breeding because everybody's water over, even though they're very good with water and, you know, only twice a week, blah, blah, blah. Still, my concern is just like after a heavy rain, that's where it really shows up in the last 2 years when we had the heavy rains. It just stagnates there. So just insert that if it can be. My question is, can you insert that comment somewhere when they grade the lot, especially where that walnut tree is? Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any additional comments or observations? Are there any on the TV? Online, excuse me? None?
There are people online, but no one that has their hands raised at this point.
Okay, in that case, declare the public hearing closed. Discussion.
I guess I can start. Honestly, I've lived here all my life. I know that location has been an eyesore for the neighbors and it hasn't been maintained. So I think that, you know, speaking to the mosquitoes and other pests that I can imagine are out there, this is going to be a major improvement for everyone visually and in terms of just maintenance of your own properties. So I think this is a great plan, and I think it fits with what the long-term goals have been for that location for years. So I'm excited to see what you do.
Bill, I assume something like the grading, where there could possibly be a low area is just something engineering can keep an eye on?
Yeah, that's correct, Commissioner Thompson. The condition of approval does include a grading and drainage plan for the site that will drain all of the water adequately.
What kind of inspections take place after he removes the septic tank?
So typically, the septic tank removal requires them to pump it out first so that it's empty. And then, as Ian mentioned, then they would remove all the concrete. They'll go in and remove the leach field, which is the pipes and the gravel and that sort of thing, and all that stuff will be hauled off site and moved to an appropriate facility. And then it will be backfilled, and then a soils engineer will verify the compaction on the backfill.
And that would include verifying that there aren't any hazardous spots for collection of water?
Yeah, that's correct. So they would grade it out, they would build a foundation pad, and then before they trench for the actual foundation, they will come in and do soils compaction testing just to make sure that the ground is adequately compacted. So there won't be any settlement or any low spots.
Because I'm not familiar with the entire process, forgive me, how many inspections or how many observations does that entail from the city?
So typically, the observations for the grading would be just to verify the elevations of the pads that are at the appropriate grade once the grading is completed. And then typically 1 test per lot pad would be sufficient to show that there's adequate compaction. So 3 tests.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question of staff. As the chair mentioned, he hadn't encountered one aspect. On page 59, number 10, if during the course of project-related activities, cultural resources are encountered, from a historical perspective, if it was owned by the Jones family, who is the founding family for the community, and it hasn't been developed in all these years, is it likely that they'll find some artifact? And if they do, what's the procedure?
So generally, cultural, it generally means like bones or something of that nature. If there is some sort of thing that is found, we can mention to the applicant from a historical society standpoint that there would be some interest in anything that was found out there. And, hopefully they could commit to kind of keeping an eye out for that type of thing. But generally the cultural is, some sort of past civilization or society that was out there that had, something that was an artifact versus something that is more modern in nature from, a family who used to live out there. But again, the city can talk to the developer while they're out in the field.
Thank you.
I think this is a great idea. It's going to clean up an eyesore on Catherine. I think it's a great project.
My familiarity with McRoy Wilbur is that they do a good product, so I'm glad to see they're involved with this.
I walk past it frequently, as I mentioned. In the old days, there used to be a dog out there. I'm kind of glad that that's no longer happening, but perhaps the new owners will have dogs, I don't know. So I agree, this is good. Do we have a motion? Or any other questions of staff? I think I got ahead of myself.
I move to approve the vesting tentative parcel map, subject to the conditions of approval as proposed. I find the project meets the energy conservation findings in Escalon Municipal Code 16.02.300 and meets the requirements in Escalon Municipal Code 16.03.070. And I direct staff to file a CEQA notice of exemption with the San Joaquin County Recorder's Office.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. The second item before us is 2043 Jackson Avenue. Can we have the staff report?
Thank you, Chair. The next item before you is a conditional use permit application for a California Redemption Value, or CRV, beverage container recycling center at 2043 Jackson Avenue. The applicant's P&R Recycling, represented by Pablo Rodriguez. The proposed location is the southeast corner of the rear parking lot of the current Dollar Savers retail store, and the request is to operate the CRV drop-off center for bottles and cans. Operating hours are proposed at Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. The center would have on-site staff. The materials would be weighed, customers compensated, and recyclables stored on-site, and those materials would be hauled off 1 to 2 times per week. The applicant estimates about 50 customers a day, and the employees would have access to the Dollar Saver restroom. Staff has identified several concerns, including aesthetics and compatibility, noise concerns, litter and site cleanliness, traffic and parking conflicts, safety and nuisance prevention. Potential mitigation measures for these concerns are included in the conditions of approval. Staff did receive 2 public comment letters before the agenda was posted. Those are Exhibit 7 in your agenda packet. We also received 2 additional comment letters from the public today, and so those were printed and included at the dais. There's also copies on the desk out in the lobby. This also is a public hearing, so Planning Commission should conduct the public hearing and accept any public comments on the project. And if Planning Commission determines to approve the application, you would make the findings supporting the conditional use permit, approve the use permit, and find the project CEQA exempt. If you have any questions, staff is available. The applicant is also in the audience if you have any questions directly for them.
Are there any questions of staff?
I only got 1 additional letter. Was there a second?
It's the only one I saw as well.
You only have 1 too?
Which one did you get?
With the hearts.
Where's that? Yep. I printed them. Maybe I put them all out there.
I actually thought this was a love note at first.
There's 2. Let me go get a couple more.
Rest of the town will share this one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Diana, I don't know if it's appropriate to bring it up now or before public comment, but I would imagine some of the people in the audience would like to hear about the pest control requirements and also the aesthetic requirements of the facility.
We can go over the conditions of approval for this project. Close your eyes.
So as Diana is pulling that up, staff, for every project, and by nature of a conditional use permit, does establish a series of conditions that the project applicant may meet to either comply with our code, which is basically like city laws as it has to do with development, but to address any potential nuisance issues that may come about as part of the project. And so 2 were referenced specifically, and so it looks like it's up, and I can turn it over to Diana to discuss those.
So these are the proposed conditions of approval. Planning Commission can modify these as necessary if they choose to approve the application, so they can be modified. If Planning Commission feels like even with these conditions of approval, that the concerns cannot be mitigated well enough. You could add more, the application could be denied. So this is what is proposed so far. The recycling center has to be certified. CalRecycle is the state agency who certifies recycling centers, so they have to do an application to the state to become certified with the state. Tonnage report, the city wants the recycling center to turn in a report listing all of their recycling tonnages. We use that for our annual report to the state. In regards to concerns for the aesthetics, the city municipal code does not allow metal storage containers in the C2 zone. So it's proposed that the structure be something more like a woods shed style. Something like, there's the shed place down on Jackson Avenue that they're like tough sheds, something more of that style. That the color of the structure be neutral or match the store building adjacent to it. Signage, the only signage that would be allowed is that listed in our zoning code. In regards to mitigating the noise, the hours of operation be limited to Monday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., prohibiting operations on Sunday. Landscaping, install perhaps evergreen trees in the rear landscape planter to help buffer noise and visual effects from the neighbors to the south. The structure, that the inside be fitted with sound dampening features like insulated walls and rubber mats to help cut down on noise generated inside the building. Prohibiting bottle crushing. In regards to litter and site cleanliness, that a trash receptacle accessible to the customers be required somewhere near the front of the structure, and that the attendant or the employee does daily inspection and removal of trash and debris in the area. Washdown, that a washdown area be required. This would be a hose bib and a grease sand interceptor installed in the storm drain to prevent it flowing to the French drain system, or to clean it before it goes to the French drain system. Pressure washing, weekly pressure washing of the operating area is required. The property owner will have to enter into a stormwater maintenance agreement with the city so that the grease sand interceptor is maintained. Pest control, applicants required to contract with a pest control company to treat the facility area for bugs and rodents. To mitigate traffic and parking conflicts, customers not be allowed to park in the drive aisles, and the attendant shall monitor that customers are using the parking stalls to keep that circulation clear. ADA parking and an ADA path of travel will be required from Jackson Avenue to the facility. For safety and nuisance prevention, site lighting and security cameras be installed in the facility area. That exterior lighting needs to be confined to the site and shine away from surrounding premises and the public rights of way. Fire safety requirements, they have to have a fire extinguisher, no smoking signs, and at least 2 parking spaces by the container are clear at all times. PG&E had a letter, they came back with something today that said there's no impact, so that one is fine. And then the rest are just standard conditions that all projects get.
Thank you.
Diane, I have a question on item 15. Pest control. A contract, I'm not sure, that's pretty vague. Is it, they need to inspect monthly, 6 times a year?
Sure, that's not specified at this time in the condition, but Planning Commission could certainly dictate what the treatment frequency would be. So the contract is that you've engaged someone to service it, but Planning Commission could modify that condition to say that it be treated bi-monthly, bi-weekly, whatever you feel is appropriate.
And generally, the way these contracts work, if they come out weekly, monthly, whatever interval, if there's concerns, comments, or identification of pests, they can call them back out, for free, basically, to treat that issue.
And then the lighting, I didn't notice any electrical on the south side of that property where the wall is. So where would the lighting be installed? On the building exterior of the existing building and shine down?
That's a good question. The lighting would be coordinated with the police department. So they would help identify where the problem areas could be and where lighting would need to be. And then planning and engineering get involved to make sure that it's not shining into anyone's yards.
And then the last question is the site plan. You know, it was pretty rudimentary, but is there a problem that on the location of where they're proposing it on that corner, if they can move it closer towards the trash compactor area but not blocking, I think there's a roll-up door on that end of the property also, you know, for the vehicles that, you know, for supplies for the Dollar Saver. Yeah, move it like
over there? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's certainly something that Planning Commission could talk to the applicant about. I'm not sure what their agreement with the property owner is, if that's feasible on their side, but it would be within the Planning Commission's authority to.
There be any problems from city code that would prohibit the tough shed style building from being located that close to the trash enclosure?
No, the trash enclosure is accessed from the garbage company straight forward. They pull straight in, so it wouldn't be blocking the trash enclosure. I don't see any issues with it in this proposed location.
Any additional? I have no other questions. No. I noticed, said that the city did a test on glass. Now, was that why we have a condition, a recommended condition of no bottle crushing? Or was that just the jostle of glass that's being collected? What kind of test was that?
Sure.
We got 150 decibels at 5 feet.
That was just the transfer of glass in one garbage container pouring into another. So like if a customer was to come to the facility with a crate of glass and then they dump it into the recycling center's container, that is the volume of noise that the glass makes.
5 feet. 150 decibels. Okay. If trees are planted, from this drawing, it's not clear to me there's a lot of room there. I mean, I saw that there was some suggestion that landscaping could take place. Is that what we're talking about?
Right, so there's not a lot of space. Here's a picture looking south. Here's the masonry wall adjacent to the houses on Edmart Street. The containers proposed to be, I don't know if you can see the mouse, in this area, which this is standing at that green box in the corner looking west. So it's only about a 3-foot landscape buffer, maybe something like Italian cypress that grow tall but stay.
They attract rats, you don't want them.
Yeah, that has the potential to create problems for the homeowners that are behind it with overgrowth and branches.
Is there any, I mean, I see security lights being proposed. Do we have any concerns about securing the containers against theft? Is that something we should be considering?
You have any thoughts on that, Chief?
I mean, it would be in the business owner's best interest to do that. So, I mean, if you want to make it a condition, it could be a condition, but I would think that would be something that would be automatically done out of the interest of the business owner.
If I could ask you a question, Chief, how often do officers go by that area at night? Because honestly, just being completely honest, I did not know that there was even a parking lot back there.
It's hard to say. When I was working patrol, at least once, maybe twice a night. it ebbs and flows when it was vacant, less frequently when there were businesses there, when it used to be like Bass Pro and, what was the, O'Reilly's used to be there. Used to be a lot more frequent. I can't say now,
Okay,
but I'm sure they do drive through at night.
okay.
This question actually would concern the owner, but I'm going to ask staff as well. There's no proposal here to allow acceptance of car batteries. Am I correct? This is strictly recyclables, meaning aluminum cans, glass bottles, and plastics, not car batteries.
Correct. My understanding is it's just the CRV, aluminum, glass, plastic beverage containers.
The only reason I'm asking is because several of the photographs that we have of some of the other locations, there's signage saying we accept car batteries.
Oh, okay.
And like, some, anyway, so I wanted to make sure that that's not part of what we're seeing here, right?
I would also ask the applicant during public hearing as well.
Well, I thought I would start with
Yes.
staff to find out.
Not that I'm
if
aware
there
of.
has been something done. Okay. Are there other questions from the commission?
Not at this time.
Thank you, staff. At this time, I would like to open a public hearing on this request. The public hearing is open. Are there any questions or comments or observations from those in attendance?
My name is Stephen Park. I live about 5 feet from the corner where that container is supposed to be, or shelter. We've had robberies before, especially right behind where it's placed. Somebody jumped the fence. I think they probably used that transformer box or whatever that box is to get up to that 8 feet, go over. It's still a very I'm sorry, I can't talk. A very valuable dog. That was neighbors. I've caught people in my backyard, even though I'm probably a good 5 feet away from that fence, but people probably have jumped over at that same spot, then jumped over the fence between me and the neighbor. So that's one of the concerns. Probably I'm glad to hear you have a lot of pesticides, pest control going on, but a big concern is the noise. There's not my house is the one right down with the big lot, and there's not a window in my house in the back that I won't be looking at that container. And the noise is already bad enough in town. I know a lot of the dogs in that area get startled. My cat gets startled, and so that's also a problem. I did write a letter, so I've written my concerns. So I guess it's the noise and possible theft. If you move that storage anywhere along the line, that is just an opportunity for somebody to get on top of it, look over and spy on that residence and take advantage of the situation. That's the way I feel. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm speaking for myself and my husband, Tony. We wish to challenge the nature of the recycle center being built in our backyard, literally in our backyard. So when you guys slide that over, that would be my backyard, the one that's closest to the garbage, okay? And I have a pool right there. So imagine swimming in the back, you're and then you get the glass going on and everything, and then the smell, and, we literally enjoy we're outdoors people. That's one of the reasons why we bought our houses, because those are all big lots. You don't see it, but when Amazon comes or whatever, they're like, dang, that's a nice backyard back there. We all are back there taking our pride. That's one of the reasons why we bought that house, is the backyard. You cannot find a backyard like that in Escalon. It's very, very hard, And we bought our house about 15 years ago. We've lived through Cragen's, the fishing store, Family Dollar, now the Dollar Savers. We've had no problems, okay, except for the crime, the shooting, okay? But none of that, the commercial buildings has not affected us, okay? Besides the shooting, that was pretty scary. And again, that comes to the chief, looking in the back. No, nobody comes in the back of that, very rarely, if there is somebody being called. But, we do have the garbage, and then the semi-trucks already have a hard time getting back there. The semi-truck, you could see how they're angled, and so it's how are you going to have I thought it would be a pod. Now it's looking like it's a shed. Well, imagine spilling, I hate to say this, beer or sodas on wood, okay? How's that going to smell? Even if you hose it, it's so hard to get that out of the smell. Then you got the rodents. Sorry, I'm getting... But here's the thing, is that the first thing that we did was when we went to go look at our house to buy, we went in that alley. And that alley, it's clean. Everybody pulled all the weeds on every single commercial, every single business it was. Well, don't get me wrong, nothing to do with the businesses or anything, but Dollar Saver just, pulled their weeds just recently after a year of being there. We all seen it. And then that's our backyard too, and now you're gonna put a recycle center that in probably 4 months it's probably gonna be back to the weeds. And then, so that's a fire hazard if you're gonna have the wood back there. And then, let me see. It's not only going to affect us drastically, not only the noise all week and the weekend, the smell of the people dumping out the cans, not even a foot away from our home. And how long until it's going to be emptied? But will it drop our home values? The first thing I did, like I said, was go in the back and check out that alley. And it's already too small back there. I'm for a recycle center, but the location is horrible. Like I said about the semi-truck, it's hard to get that back there. Then you got the garbage truck. That loud noise once a week, the garbage truck is, that's hard to get used to, but we could get used to that. That's not a problem. That has to deal with being being next to that. That's fine. But that's once a week. This is Monday through Saturday, even your day off, And then we all take so much pride in our homes, and it wouldn't be up to code either, because considering that the law is 25 to 50 feet away from residentials, I also have dogs that will be barking constantly. People will be piling up vehicles, not knowing where to park. Even if you were to tell them, oh, this is how you park, at first it's not going to be like that. And then that leads them out to the back up to the 120, which they don't want to lose their place in line. So that's dangerous. And it also is a fire hazard, because of that, because the fire truck can't get past there. And then also the building is right now being for sale. So aren't you supposed to be having that authorized by the actual owner? Because it is technically a government thing, right? For the recycle. And then, I'm okay with having a recycle center, but it's Ripon executes it so much better than us. And it's just, this could bring revenue. Like, I understand that. And I do agree with having a recycle center, just that location is a poor location. They're just not smart. And we already had a shooter in the building, and you think that won't attract him to the back alley, trying to break into the pod near people's homes? We've already been through enough, and we've all agreed, and as a neighborhood who takes pride in their homes, we disapprove this recycle center. And then also I have, what about the longevity of like having a tough shed? That's more for rodents and everything, easier to get into versus a metal. At least a metal would be hard for rodents to get in there. I'm not approving a metal one either, but I'm just saying, like, I was thinking a metal. So with that being said, like rodents, they chew through tough sheds and all that, and they're gonna be able to get through that. And then that's another fire hazard and all that stuff. Anyways, that's my, what I say, please, we love our home. We take pride in it. I'm actually painting my house this week, if you were to see every single one of our backyards, you'd be like really impressed by us. And we love Escalon, but please put it somewhere else. That's all I ask. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for hearing me. I'm Barbara Langham. I am a neighbor to the garbage bins there. And like I said, I have been there over 50 years. My neighbor beside me has also been there over 50 years. We've seen the neighborhood change. We've seen you put in a nasty little thing on the corner where they had a smoke shop. They painted the building and ruined it. And our neighborhood, we take, like she said, great pride in our yards. And you probably won't find too many weeds there in our yards. We take great pride, and we try to keep the neighborhood up. Because we actually, I guess when the smoke shop was there, I had a friend said, I don't want to go over there, that's the ghetto. We take pride and try to keep our homes up because we have the smaller homes. And we want to be, what would I say, prideful for the city. We take pride and we clean things up. I know my neighbor sweeps her gutter. So, we do take pride. But I'm going to tell you, when the Family Dollar came in, and first I want to tell you, I am a retired quality control manager for one of the largest tomato processors in the world. I understand rats, I understand bugs, ants, mosquitoes, and all of those things, and filth and smell. And for our facilities, the things that we had to do for our customers to come and buy from us, you would have to do for over there, because I'm not going to stand for any more rats. And my neighbor beside me, my daughter brought her dogs. And the dogs were running around the backyard. They scared up another rat. And all of our neighbors, including Sherry, have had rats. So we have taken care of it ourselves. We have not come to you and complained. We have not complained about any of those things. When the garbage truck comes, and sometimes when it dumps the garbage, papers fly over into my yard. I pick them up and clean it up. I don't come to you and say, hey, we're good neighbors. This does not belong there. It does not belong there. And the Italian cypress you saw on our street, they're like Roman candles. They go up like, boom. And thank you for the fire department for saving our neighborhood, because those apartments were right there, and they would go up. Those things they burn like paper. And if you live in the country and you try to have insurance, you can't have cypress. They don't want those on, because they burn so readily, like candles. And one of my things was, you said something about French drains. I don't know what French drains are, but I know when they built the building back there, I know I was working, so I'm not for sure where the sewer lines go. The house that used to be back there, the sewer line went across my backyard, through the neighbor's yard, and into the 4th and Edmart Street sewer system, and then down to the city. And then there was another line that goes on my neighbor's side, and they actually have a manhole in their yard. And it comes back, and then it would go across the back of the neighborhood, and then all those houses back there, their sewage went into that, and then it went into the street down our street. So where will the water go back there? Is it going to go over to the 4th Street area? Is it going to go back behind those houses? And I know they recently had trouble with their sewer. They have the manhole back there. They had to get help to get that cleaned up. We don't need any more crap in our backyards. We don't need to be called a ghetto section of town. Like we said, we take great pride in that, our area, and we try to keep it as nice as we can, as individuals as we can. Sweeping our gutters. You don't need to send a street sweeper to our area because we sweep our gutters. So I am vehemently opposed to having a recycle center there. And I'm going to be a nasty neighbor if it comes. I'm going to be over there because I know how to inspect rodent stations, and I know how to know it's complying or not. And I'll be your nastiest person. I will complain about all of it, because if you move that shed down, that's my backyard. And it's right there, and you put cypress in a shed and stinky stuff all over that wood or whatever. I'm sorry. Please don't destroy our neighborhood. And that's my comment. Thank you very much.
Do you have any other comments from the audience? Are there any online waiting to be heard?
No one with their hand raised.
Okay. Well, does the applicant, who I believe is in the audience, want to make a comment?
Mr. Chair, would you like to close the public hearing?
I thought that was part of the public hearing, his comments.
Yes. Okay, he is not. That's fine.
Well, my name is Pablo Rodriguez, and I'm applying for to open a recycling center behind the Dollar Saver store. I have like 6 locations, different cities, and some of them are very similar to this location I'm applying for. And I've been operating those for many years with neighbors around and never had any issue. And I will try to meet all the requirements that you guys need. I will get a contract with pest control and get security cameras and everything. I don't think they're concerned about homeless sleeping there or being in there. That doesn't happen in the other locations I have. I don't know why it would happen here. That's about it. I'll do my best to keep it clean.
Does anyone have any questions, Mr. Rodriguez?
I have a question. Thank you for your interest in Escalon and for applying. One of the first things I did was I looked up your other locations and the reviews. You had great reviews for friendliness. I didn't see anything that insinuated that your facilities weren't clean. I just want to ask if there is a particular reason why you chose this location, and also, is there any possibility for you picking another location in Escalon?
Yeah, I picked that location because I really couldn't find anything else in that city, basically.
Okay.
Yes, but if I get the license and honestly, I'll still keep looking, and if I can relocate, I will in the future. I can find another spot, other like building instead of a parking lot or stuff.
My concern is the visibility. I mean, you don't want to be next to the Welcome to Escalon sign, but I also am concerned that you're being tucked behind a building could lead to vandalism and problems for you and your business and obviously the neighbors, which we've heard from tonight. This is a hard one because I think that you would be providing a service that's needed here in town, and I think that people would appreciate that. I do have serious concerns about this particular spot. I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I would like to propose that if this spot doesn't ultimately work out, if we could give Mr. Rodriguez maybe 120 days, 180 days to find another location without having to repay the application fees, because like I said, I would love to have a recycling center here in town. I just think that this might not be the best spot for it.
Yeah, I understand. Like I said, I couldn't find anything else, and I talked to the owner, and he says he has another store in Rio Linda, I believe, and he has a recycling center over there too, so he knows how that goes. And he says he has neighbors too over there, houses around, and he says there's no issue at all, so that's why he agrees with it. But yeah, I couldn't find anything else. That's why.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
For the applicant.
I have a couple. What kind of truck picks up the materials once or twice a week?
It's a box truck, 26-footer.
26 foot? Do you use any kind of front loader or,
No, it just has a lift gate on the back.
so it's loaded by hand?
Yes.
I see. And how about the power washing requirements? Do you power wash in your other facilities?
I do, yes.
Do you have a generator or something that you hook your water up to so you can get the pressure?
A power washer, that's about it.
So, okay.
Diesel or gas? I'm guessing gas.
Yeah, a gas one, yeah.
The gas power washer?
Yes.
Okay. Have you put any thought, since the container, the metal container would not be allowed, the city has suggested something along the lines of a Tough Shed, which is a brand name, but there are other sheds available. Have you put any thought, have you looked into the sheds, so what you might bring to the spot?
Yes, not too far from the store, there's a place that sells those, and I already talked to the guy there.
Okay.
And they can build one for that.
And how do you secure your facilities against theft?
Just some regular locks, pretty much.
Do you have much problem with theft?
No. Once it had happened a few years ago, they broke into one of mine, but I've been doing this for like 15 years at least, and just once it happens, and that's about it.
And I just want to be certain that your other locations, or at least two of your other locations, you advertise that you take car batteries, but you don't have any plans to take car batteries here?
No, just beverages. cans of
Not
bottles.
now or not in the future?
No.
And do you have fire extinguishers on your other sites?
Yes.
And you're okay with the fire extinguisher that our fire department has recommended?
Yes.
My last question.
I have a couple of questions. Since you're not going to have direct street exposure off of 120, how are you going to advertise your locations in the community?
I haven't really thought much about that, but maybe newspaper, and after that, I mean, it's going to be the only recycling in town, so.
Have you talked to the city about requirements for signage?
No, not yet. Well, I think, yeah, we did, and I just said, whatever you guys allowed, I'll go for that.
I have another question.
Are there any other questions? Okay. I believe we've closed the public hearing. Do we have, no, now I need to close the public hearing. I have not yet closed the public hearing. I have now closed the public hearing, public portion of the hearing. Do we have additional comments or discussion?
I mean, I definitely think that Escalon could use a recycling center. I mean, it's been a really, really long time since we've had one. So I think it is something that we need. I just don't feel like this site is the right site. There's a reason that there's setback requirements between commercial and residential, and I don't feel like this use is important enough and put together enough for me to be able to allow for it to have, this use when normally there wouldn't be anything allowed that close to residential. There's concerns for me about the parking and the issues, going around that corner. If someone, happens to come around that corner a little fast, like the visibility is not great, and there could be another car right there waiting to park. Obviously, things like rodents can be, mitigated, and you can do the power washing, but it's kind of like those trees that are always dripping sap, right? Like the ones like the sycamores or whatever that are always dripping sap. You can continuously clean those, and it's still going to be sticky and dirty because it's constantly being added to, and I don't see this being any different. You're going to constantly be having sodas and sugary things dripping all over. The smells, the fermentation smells from alcohol, stuff like that is very hard to get rid of or mitigate, on a everyday basis. And I just don't feel like, even with I think staff did a great job putting together a bunch of mitigation ideas. I just don't think even with all those mitigation ideas, it's still going to have the effect that we would want it to have, personally.
I go to the recycler probably once every other week, not nearby, but in another community. And I see people with their pickup trucks, with their vehicles, they put all the bins behind. They're taking up several feet behind their vehicle. There's not enough space in this parking lot for people to have their vehicles and then the tubs right behind them while they're breaking down their plastic and their glass and their aluminum. The drive that comes in off of 120 and then makes a turn, there are 3 parking spots there. That's not wide enough to be safe, I don't believe. And the same thing in the back. You don't have the clearance, I think, for some of the bigger vehicles like the trucks. And the fact that when you exit, you can only go right, you can't go left. I think that's a hindrance. So as much as I like recycling, as much as I think we do need a center, I agree with Chair Thompson and Commissioner Gonzalez that this is not the right location.
It's a great idea, one location.
Do I hear a motion? Not hearing a motion?
Give me a minute.
We're just giving other
We can
people a
make one on
chance.
the fly.
Okay.
I don't have one.
You don't have a motion for that?
The only motion would be for approval. So if you were to make a motion otherwise,
Oh,
And I would just reference the findings, right? This is a conditional use permit. It's a use that is not outright permitted. It is a potential for conditionally used permit, so the findings specify kind of any concern that someone would have with the use. And so a motion could speak to the concerns associated with that.
I'm sorry, I thought if no one wants to approve the variances required in a motion, that we just simply wouldn't make a motion, and this would then have no prejudice or anything else.
Correct. If you do not make a motion, then nothing happens.
That's
There's
what
no
I thought.
action that's taken.
Do we need to make a motion?
It
then?
essentially fails, by not going forward. If you were to, you could make a motion to deny, or you could simply not make a motion at all.
I think all of us feel that we need a recycling center in this community. I think all of us hope Mr. Rodriguez does not give up. So if we make a motion, I would hope that seems that would be more discouraging than not making a motion at all.
It would be at your discretion whether you'd like to not make a motion or whether you would like to make a motion to deny. If you deny, it would be a denial of this application.
Okay.
It essentially has the same effect.
Okay.
Not to interrupt, can we do something that gives Mr. Rodriguez a time frame that he can continue looking for maybe a more acceptable location in town without having to repay his application fees?
My recommendation, since the application is a conditional use permit, and you would need to act on whether to grant that or not, you could simply just not make a motion and then ask the applicant to revise his application and return it to the planning commission at a later date. But I would also, bring the applicant back up and ask him if he would be agreeable to that.
Do I need to reopen the public hearing portion of the meeting? Yes, I see your hands back there, which is also why I'm asking that question. So it would be appropriate to reopen the public hearing portion of the meeting and to speak to Mr. Rodriguez, but we also have some people in the back who want to speak additionally.
That would be fine.
That's what I thought. At this time, I would like to reopen the public hearing portion of the meeting. We have two people who want to speak, or at least one.
I know this is a little bit unorthodox, right? So we're up next on the ticket.
Yeah.
My name is Mario Gustavo back there. We're going to be talking about our business, and part of my past life, that was my job, to kind of solve problems. This two may kind of go hand in hand. I'm not sure how, I just overheard you guys talking about either closing the motion or not making a motion or denying it, right? I'm not sure if there's any possible way of not making a motion so that you guys can hear our case and possibly the two businesses could somehow, some way work out. And what I mean by that is,
I think you probably would have to have a conversation privately. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. When I first saw both of your applications, I thought the same thing.
Right.
So maybe you could have a conversation. No. Maybe you could exchange information and have a conversation about working together at a possible location that might be a little bit more appropriate.
Is that appropriate at this time to make that recommendation?
right?
That's quite all right.
Yeah. I think, Chair, to your point and to legal's point, certainly that is an allowable, although it's like atypical action to not make a motion, to just have it be silent. I think I've heard enough comments that there's some desire to see a recycling center, but maybe not in this location. And a motion doesn't just have to be deny, period. It can be some sort of action to staff, right? Allow them 120 days to establish a new location without an additional application fee or something of the like. And so I think it would bring a little finality, even though it may be harsh, I think was your term, to the topic if there was a motion based on the commission's viewpoint here. When there's silence, even though each commissioner has spoken, there's some question marks. And so to the greatest extent possible, if you can, put into words some sort of motion that dictates how you would like to see anything move forward or not, that would be helpful, I think, for the applicant, for staff, and for anyone else out there.
So would we move to deny the application or move to leave the application open pending an amendment?
So conditional use permits tie to the land, and so there's a location aspect, right? And if I'm hearing the commission correctly, that the location is not right, there can be some sort of motion on separate locations. Even, what was raised, and I wouldn't specify that in the motion because there's other things that we don't know, but even, other locations that have been mentioned.
Okay, I'll try. Bear with me here.
Okay, wait a minute. Before you go, we have some other issues.
Would it be a good idea to ask the applicant to come back up and see if he is agreeable to?
Yeah, I guess I agree with what he was saying right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other comments from the public? Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Any other comments from the public? Any additional comments online?
I have one.
Okay.
I just, I'm really against it, but I have breakfast and coffee in my backyard every day. I'm 82. There are 4 or 5 homes in the area where the people are elderly, and they're not here. So I'm kind of representing those, if you don't mind. And I would just like to say how much we appreciate you, the Planning Commission, and you're realizing that it's a poor location, because it is. And we do want Mr. Rodriguez to have his recycling center. But I would still like to have coffee and breakfast in my backyard. And I don't get up too early. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This time, hearing no additional comments, recognizing no comments online, the public hearing portion is closed. Will the commission entertain a motion?
So
Chair entertain a motion.
I'd like to move that we deny this application and make findings against the conditional use permit in accordance with Escalon Municipal Code Section 17.56.030. Deny the conditional use permit deny the conditional use permit as proposed or as modified by the Planning Commission. Find the project CEQA Class 3 categorically exempt. Does that matter?
No, you would just
let's
simply
strike that last part.
Time frame. Give
Time frame, do you want to waive fees?
And then I would add to allow Mr. Rodriguez an additional 120 days to find a new location without having to repay the fees associated with this permit.
I will second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Can you just ask, especially on an item like this, any opposed?
Are there any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez.
Okay. On to our last item on tonight's agenda.
Thank you.
Well, it isn't free.
And can we hear from staff on the Red Barn Equipment Sales application for zoning and variance?
Yes. Thank you, Commission. This is another conditional use permit for your consideration. The property is located at 930 Yosemite Avenue, which is north of 120 and almost directly across from Oklahoma Avenue. westerly of McHenry Avenue. It is located in the Liberty Business Park area, which is a industrial/commercial planned area, and we will speak on that in a little bit. The applicants are here tonight, although one of them is talking to the past applicant. They represent a new business, Red Barn Equipment Sales, that was purchased from an existing business that had operated many years on Kiernan Avenue in Modesto near the CHP. So the applicants here today have purchased an existing business from essentially a retiring owner, and it is called Red Barn. They were driving through the area looking for a location, found a Red Barn, and decided it might be a good spot. So again, this is a conditional use permit. Thank you, Chief. This is a conditional use permit, which again means that the use is not permitted outright, but can be conditionally allowed if approved by the Planning Commission in this case. The zoning for the area is C2, general commercial, and again, this type of facility, this type of use is conditionally allowed, and I'll just read that. So Escalon Municipal Code Section 1711-040 indicates that farm equipment, sales, and service is conditionally permitted in the C2 zone. And that is the proposal here, is for new and used tractor and farm equipment sales and service within the existing Red Barn building. And there's kind of a separate building on the parcel. That would be a restroom facility for customers and staff, as well as office space. Okay. As was stated, a conditional use is being sought. The municipal code outlines the conditions as we saw on the last item as well. And there must be findings made that the use is consistent and desirable, basically. And so we mentioned the Liberty Business Park location. One of the aspects of this item is staff is proposing to delay or postpone some of the typical conditions of approval that would be seen with other type businesses. And there's two reasons primarily. One is the Liberty Business Park area. It is a new development area, new industrial park, kind of a job growth area. It is north of 120. It does not currently have services, utility services, water and sewer. There's been precedent in the last 5 years or so to approve a deferred utilities agreement, and staff, with that precedent and with the city council's focus on economic development, have thought that delaying some of the conditions could be appropriate. So in essence, we would allow a business which seems to be a good fit for the community, at least in staff's interpretation, to establish, build up business, generate some revenue, and then be able to invest into the property by satisfying some of those conditions. You will see in the staff report that there are two sets of conditions, those that are immediate and those that staff is proposing to delay for a period of up to 36 months. Now, of course, that is at the discretion of the commission and is staff's recommendation at this point. So like with the last item, and we can maybe after the procedure go through some of the conditions and some of the items that would be delayed. But like with the last item, we'd open the public hearing, we accept any comments that may be had for or against the project, close the public hearing, and then make final deliberations as you see fit, again, with the findings and the CEQA categorization. So we'll pull up the conditions quickly here, or not quickly. I shouldn't have said quickly.
No pressure.
And I actually have that.
$189.
So in most cases, staff will separate specific conditions, those that are unique to the specific business, and then your more standard conditions that are applicable really to almost any project. And you'll see starting on page 189 in the agenda package, there are some specific conditions that are required up front. That is the first page. And then as you get into the latter page, page 190, starting on page 190, there will be some postponed conditions. And it is things like full site grading, full improvements, landscaping, additional parking pavement, that type of thing, even some SWIP, some stormwater improvements that could be delayed, water utility connections, sewer connections, and then, as was just mentioned, some of the street improvements, whether there's a need to widen 120 or that facility in front, driveways, that sort of thing. Now, I will mention there are 3 Caltrans conditions that we will just talk through very specifically. Staff is comfortable with delaying some of the other conditions, but the Caltrans conditions we will just want to speak to directly. Actually, if we could pull up the chart or the exhibit, excuse me. So Caltrans, in effect, has 3 conditions, and we can speak to those. So the single driveway would be consolidation of 3 driveways, in effect, into 1. This could be done with K-rail or just wood, sort of blockade with some reflective, tape or stickers type thing. But basically funneling traffic into one location. Freeways, highways are designed to not have as many conflict points as arterial or residential streets. And so the desire, I think, from Caltrans standpoint is to narrow the conflict points, the ingress, egress points. So single driveway, that is a relatively straightforward and simple condition and one that could be accommodated immediately. The one to the right, install taper, is essentially laying down pavement to allow someone who is westbound to pull into without blocking traffic, without making kind of a harder right turn. So it would allow that person to pull off of the highway and access the business with the single driveway. Again, a relatively straightforward one. There's some cost, of course, associated with the pavement and striping, but it's on their right of way and relatively straightforward. The other item here, if you look at the underlying striping, so the yellow striping between the 2 red lines, you can see it was striped to accommodate left turns at 3 different locations. Those are the breaks in the yellow striping. Caltrans, as part of the review of this project, has desired to see not the 3 access as we saw with the single driveway, but to restripe that into an extended left turn lane essentially. And so a truck or any car could pull over into the turn lane, not impede traffic, and make a turn as was, as it was safe. This one could be a little more time consuming, we'll call it, in coordinating with Caltrans. I think one of the things we would like to understand from the applicant is their time frame, so that we can understand this condition and how impactful it may be to them, to coordinate with Caltrans, to get approval for the striping, and then to actually physically make the improvements. So those are the ones that we wanted to specifically talk about. Again, all of the conditions and the timing are up to commission discretion. Staff has laid out, for the reasons we've presented, why some conditions have been delayed or postponed at this point, or recommended to be delayed or postponed. So with that, we'll be happy to answer any questions you may have on this item.
I have a quick question on the turn lane.
Sure.
Is there going to be any dividers, rails, anything like that, or is it pretty much just going to be an open turn lane? I know people get stopped by the tracks there. A lot of people make U-turns. So emergency-wise, I would just be curious if there's going to be anything that would block people in.
There would be no physical improvements per the Caltrans suggestion. It would just be striping. So double yellows, intends for people not to cross those, but there would be nothing physical.
Okay.
Are you done with your questions? Yep. Quick question. Why 36 months instead of like the last applicant that got this got 5 years? So why only 3 years for this applicant?
No reason in particular, just selected a reasonable date, we felt.
And then has staff actually spoken to the property owner? I don't know if the property owner is here, but has staff spoken to the property owner about any of this?
We have not specifically spoken with the property owner. We do know that the applicant has an arrangement. We believe it's a lease arrangement with the property owner, but otherwise we have not spoken with the property owner.
Just curious because, a lot of this is really going on the property itself and the property owner, particularly like the Liberty Business Park plan fee, like that's up to the property owner. So I was just curious if they were aware of this.
Yes, it generally staff's assumption that the applicant, if there's a lease arrangement, is coordinating any of those types of fees, future fees, or improvements or connections with the property owner.
I'll ask the applicant then. I know I've worked with this property owner before and he's very difficult to work with. So I'm just concerned with what we may be putting on the applicant and the city of trying to actually get this stuff done if it comes to that.
Is this particular site part of the trust owners that are in the business park? I know there's a trust that owns quite a bit of acreage. And then one of the trustees, I believe, owns that corner parcel where the taper would be starting.
So this is Margaret Grown Trust, and it's her, I think, nephew, Brian, is the one that
I think there's actually 3 trustees on that.
Well, he's the one that we've always dealt with at the city.
It does, and you can see on page 147, the first page of the item, the property owner is the Margaret L. Grown et al. Trust, attention Brian Nagley.
And then Brian owns the corner parcel, or the triangle, okay.
The only questions I had.
I have a bunch of questions. First one with the screen that's up, is there going to be if somebody's exiting the property, will they be able to go east on 120? Will that accommodate a left turn out of the property onto 120?
I actually don't know if it'll be double striped.
Yeah, so I believe that's the hope, that somebody could come out and stack or stage in that combination turn lane and then merge in as necessary. So I think that was part of the goal with Caltrans, was to make that as kind of a staging lane where if somebody traveling eastbound wanting to make a left turn in is not going to impede traffic from behind them.
Yeah.
And they can stage there until it's safe to turn. Same with coming out. They could come out and stage there until it's safe to merge in.
And then the next question is on page 82, the applicant or the signer, William F. Call. Who is this person?
That's Bill.
That would be the commissioner. I'm the city engineer, yes.
Okay, so I noticed in the conditions, or maybe we could ask the applicant, because I didn't see any condition on fencing, and if they're gonna have tractors and everything else, security, maybe that's another question I had.
Yeah, wise to ask the applicant. They have informed us that there would be security fencing around the property.
Okay, yeah, that would make sense. And then, I question the 36 months for sewer, water. I mean, are we gonna really have that ability to connect sewer and water in 3 years? I mean, I would love to say that's gonna happen, but I mean, realistically, that's, I don't see that unless something miraculous happens and, so, yeah, I mean, I would feel more comfortable pushing it out further, and if things happen, if we have some language of, if we start getting some synergy and things are happening out there, then they have to connect sooner. I don't know what kind of language. Those are the questions I had.
I have a question about the 36 versus 60 months as well. It just seems inconsistent to me. I mean, we had 60 months, we were giving Weldwood, I believe, 60 months. Why wouldn't we just be consistent so that they come due at the same time, and if we're not ready for them, we can extend them both at the same time, rather than have to go through any kind of protracted individual negotiations.
Yeah, certainly within the purview of the commission to extend that. And just from staff standpoint, the prior business in Liberty Business Park is making some, frontage improvements and other improvements to the property. You're right, the connection to water and sewer was delayed for a period of 5 years per the deferred utilities agreement. And so there was, I think, a blending of, there are some conditions you would expect to see maybe in a more timely fashion that could be made sooner, you know what I mean? And so I think staff kind of blended that a little bit. But if the commission wanted to delay all the conditions for 60 months or water sewer and there are others for 36 months, I think, again, it is absolutely up to commission's discretion at this point.
This seems it would be for consistency's sake, and I know consistency is a hobgoblin of a small mind, but count me there. Also, I'm concerned about the fact that there's more than one property owner involved in the Caltrans suggestions. The Caltrans suggestions personally gave me great comfort. I'm very, very hesitant about any project involving 120 unless there are conditions like these. Does city staff have leeway to help us get this through, or is this going to be entirely on the leaseor, Red Barn?
Can we help them navigate the Caltrans process?
Not just the Caltrans process, but also dealing with the two different owners of this property. I mean, I'm assuming the people they're going to lease from are going to be fine, do whatever they want, but you've got that triangular shape.
It sounds like
parcel.
he's the trustee for the trust next door. So
Yeah.
I don't think there would be any objection since he's a part of both.
Well, I just want to make sure that we've looked into it so that we don't run into something that somebody's saying, oh, no, I would never agree to something like that. And then we've approved and they've invested money and here we are with a traffic hazard on 120.
Yeah, no, good question, and I think we do, as Commissioner Gonzalez mentioned, I think we have coverage there.
Okay.
So how deep is the right-of-way of Caltrans on 120? Does it extend to these three trees, or is it closer to the actual asphalt?
Well, is there a follow-up question to that?
No, because I'm thinking, how far is the red line encroaching on private property versus the right-of-way?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I don't immediately know.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is it could be a moot point.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if I'm not sure where the property line is for the owner of
the triangular parcel.
Let's see if we can find it quickly here.
Yeah, because
I think the intent with the Caltrans comment, and we prepared, it's an Ardura exhibit, engineering prepared the exhibit. I think the intent with Caltrans would be to probably cover their right-of-way, not necessarily go onto private property.
That's what I'm guessing, because then you'd have to do an acquisition.
But it would have to be wide enough to, well, I don't know if there would be an acquisition. I mean, it's basically a taper into the business.
Yeah, but if you're taking some of my land, I want you to pay me for it.
Well,
that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it would be a take. They're just, just like a driveway goes into a property. I mean, there's.
It's basically starting the driveway early.
Yeah.
So the blue line is the approximate property line.
Okay. So you're encroaching just a little bit, not much.
It does look like the existing driveway encroaches though also, so I don't know if there's I can't remember what it's called. It's basically like an easement by use, like if it's been used for so long, it's just kind of assumed that you can continue using it. Prescription, maybe, something along those lines.
Right.
And it's gonna be, I'm assuming, like an asphalt, or is it?
We have any estimates on, I mean, I remember we spent a lot of time talking about the cost of the sewer and water connection fees for Weldwood. Do we have similar, I didn't see any discussion of that in this. Do we have similar estimates? Have they been provided to the applicant?
How much it would cost to connect?
Yeah.
So there's.
In 3 years or 5 years?
Yeah, and there's a number of different ways. If they are pulling across the highway, let's say there's nothing that goes into Liberty Business Park. If they are pulling across the highway, then yes, we have those numbers. If there are other developments in the area and they can connect sort of laterally, we'll call it, then that is a whole different cost. And so there is many unknowns in this 3 or 5 or whatever time frame it may be to establish that cost. But if your overall question is, has that specific number been shared? It hasn't at this point, but we can certainly share that with the applicant.
Some ballpark numbers at least, because I remember them being, to me, surprisingly high.
Yeah, yeah. Not cheap to pull it across a railroad and a highway.
Okay. Are there any other questions of staff? At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. If anyone has comments about this project, please come forward.
Sorry, I apologize for earlier. I was just
Yeah.
trying to help. This is Gustavo, Mario. Dan DeYoung, the current owner of the business. So any questions regarding to current operations of the business? No, probably assist. But we are looking at hopefully being able to operate out of this location. Before I start, though, I'd like to note that there is water. I'm just kind of wondering why, not questioning, but wondering why we have to cross the 120 for water and also sewer when there's a septic tank, as well as water from the adjacent house there, which according to Brian Nagley, I think his name is, it's all his property. In fact, I tried to buy it from him, but he's not going to sell it, he said, as well as the rest of the orchard that's there. But in any case, water and sewer, my understanding was that it was available. And so, so going back to the business has been operating for the past 16 years out of Modesto. Again, any questions with operations, Dan's here for that. So we're hoping that this does get approved. I know that it's going to be some conditions. Hoping that we can start operations as soon as possible. Currently, the business is being operated out of his house. So we'd like to hopefully, I don't know if this is this forum, but hopefully be able to start selling so we can start generating some of the revenue that's going to be required to pay for a lot of this stuff that's being proposed. Correct. Trying to make sure I don't miss something. That house too, potentially, this is probably not the time to add to more stuff to it. It's already a pretty complex situation, I think. But talking to Brian, last time I talked to him was August 14th, so not too long ago. We discussed the house as well, but for right now, it's just that barn and part of half of that property. Potentially be able to beautify the rest of the property. That's an eyesore for everybody here. I'm pretty sure you guys can attest the fact that it's not the most beautiful plot of land that Escalon has. And so the intent here is to take out a bunch of trees, put some fencing for security purposes for the equipment, as well as to generate, with that being said, bring in equipment, start selling, create some jobs as well that I think would be beneficial not only to Red Barn, but also to the city of Escalon. My mind runs really fast, so I'm trying to slow down so I can properly convey my message. Sorry. The asphalt, I just found out about it, so I've spoken to Brian about a lot of the plans that we have for the property, and he has agreed to everything. He's essentially told me to do whatever you have to do to get your business going there. I know they had somebody prior to us. I think they were there for a couple months and they left. Don't know why. Maybe this is the reason why. I'm not sure. So I'm really hoping that we'll get an opportunity to and it's not just about beautifying the property, but to truly bring something to Escalon that I think would definitely benefit the city with business. There's already plenty of traffic. Might as well generate something out of that traffic that gets clogged by the train passing by, you know. Instead of people making a U-turn to get away from the train, they can make a left into that place and hopefully buy something and bring some tax dollars in here too. So I'm not sure what I need to much. I don't know what else I need to tell you guys.
We have plenty of questions for you. I'm sure.
Yeah, we do.
So if you're ready for the questions, we'll start throwing them out.
I'll stop talking.
Anybody have questions?
Where to start?
Want to address the water?
Sure. Yeah, we have shared with the applicant and for the commission and anyone else, typically when development happens in a city versus a county, there's a requirement to connect to city utilities. That would be a direct requirement prior to even opening, and what staff is proposing at this time is delaying it for a period of time. We've recommended 36 months, maybe that will change, but delaying that requirement for a period of time to allow them to be established and to speak to the uniqueness of this development area that does not have access immediately to the utilities. So we understand it is confusing and there's moving parts associated with it, but city development requires connection to utilities. We are recommending postponing that until such time as maybe revenue can be generated to invest over the long term to make that capital investment.
How many employees are you envisioning?
So, quick answer to that is, right now it's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6, right? That's about approximately what I believe Dan, I'm not sure how many you had at your current property. The plan, and it was just him, right? So it's going to be us. We're planning on doubling that, hopefully. And we're talking about service trucks, so not everyone there, but having service trucks doing maintenance, servicing different farmers around, not just the area, close area here, but the surrounding areas, talking about Tracy, Lodi, that kind of stuff. So the idea is to double what he had at the other barn, at the other location. So that's long-term plans. We have to obviously be cognizant of the great expense that has been to purchase the business, and also some of the expenses that are we're gonna accrue with this. So we're long-term plans about 12, I would say. Right now, we gotta stay light so that we can.
Understood. Full disclosure, I work for Greg Gates, who is the owner of Weldway on the other side of the business park. So I've been a little bit where you're at with some of these conditions. And there's a lot involved, so I just want to make sure that you're going into this knowing what you're getting yourself into.
Yeah, I say give us 120 months, not just 36 months.
Right? 10 years.
Just saying.
There are some things with water, with well water and employees, with the water board. I think you're probably under the threshold with the number of employees you have, but there's a lot of things that sometimes you're not prepared for that kind of catch you off guard. So just want to make sure that you're going into this with eyes wide open, because I think this would be great. And I honestly love the red barn. I think that's a little bit of kismet. So I hope that this works out for you. But yeah, I definitely would look into some of these costs that you would be expected to complete the work for whatever term is decided here.
Absolutely. I definitely hope we do have some sort of numbers. And gosh, I'm not sure, again, first time doing this. I'm not sure if the city can pump some money into it. I don't know.
Probably not that. Maybe a little leeway, but probably not.
Hey, I'm going to ask.
Understood.
I'm here for a reason, so I think we can definitely make that place profitable, given the right conditions, though. So that's why it's the length of time, the amount of work that we have to do definitely has to be, let's say, within reason, so that we can actually stay alive as a business. I know that most businesses fail within the first couple of years, so plan on being here, we plan on being here far longer than a couple of years. And hope to eventually, grand idea is to build actual bays, proper, it is a barn, you know, it goes, it's great, right? But the idea is to definitely, nothing against Dan, but take it to the next level. And
When do you hope to open up your business if everything moves forward?
Tomorrow?
Has Caltrans given you any indication on when they'll, you know, because there's going to be some hurdles they're going to require before, I'm assuming, they can open up for business.
Going back to what I said earlier, if you guys will allow us, I'm hoping that, and I don't know what is possible, what is not possible, so I'm just throwing stuff out there and see what sticks, honestly. Hoping that we can get the business license. Essentially, the business is still operating, even though the location where it was had to move because of the owner of the property needed to use it for their own purposes. So in essence, the business itself had to be moved from there, and it's still operational to a somewhat diminished capabilities. So with that being said, it's still generating revenue, and I can't see why we can't possibly continue that in a different county. Instead of Stanislaus, make it San Joaquin County, and again, not move into that spot, into that place, into this property until it's.
So essentially, running your office out of this location, but not having any of your inventory there yet.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I like to have, so before we get too far ahead, I like to be able to have inventory there as soon as possible, right? But obviously, we need some fencing, obviously, we need some security stuff, things of that nature that we're gonna need regardless. But as far as the water, sewer, all that other stuff, I'm sure that's gonna take some time. Caltrans, that's gonna take some time to coordinate. So again, first time doing this, I'm just, if I'm talking too much, just let me know. I'm just going super fast in my head, trying to not confuse people.
We have questions. Do you have additional questions?
No, he answered the one I had.
I have something lighthearted. Where do you envision the Red Barn Recycling Center on the property?
So talking to Brian, he did offer that house to us, and I was thinking, hey, that other corner looks pretty great. Away from 120, away from everybody, you know.
And also, for the last couple of years, Santa Claus has come to the Red Barn to have pictures taken with the kids on his lap and whatnot.
Now we're gonna,
Okay.
you know, before that, I'm sure Santa Claus had a sleigh, but this time he's gonna have a tractor.
Yeah.
That'll be great.
That's perfect.
Right tractor too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
By the way. They're gonna be on Mars, and there's greens too.
I have some questions. On your application, I saw that you'd written in "and service." Can you tell me what service entails in this case?
So, warranty service, talking about if engine, and maybe Dan, would you be able to explain? Yeah, 'cause obviously he's the guy operating everything. We're the hopefuls.
Anna, can you go back to the page that shows the?
My name's Dan.
and change it?
Current owner of Red Barn
The
Equipment.
barn page.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name.
Dion, D-E-J-O-N-G. J-O-N-G, what did I say? Okay. So I started my business 16 years ago with my family, son, daughter, and my wife as a business partner. Prior to that, I worked for John Deere for 31 years. So I learned a lot of things, what's the right thing to do, how to treat customers, and how to support the products we sell. So it's not very hard to build a business if you have the right people. Okay? I've done that. But my family has said it's time for me to hang up the stirrups. Time to retire. So I felt really good about this individual. I've met with other people who wanted to buy me out, and I narrowed it down to these two guys. Because I really see the strong potential here. We generate over $4 million in revenue a year. I do all the sales. Service, your question about service is we offer full service on the tractors and all the other equipment we sell. And this is equipment that's being used by farmers in this community. Sprayers that are built right here in Modesto, but we don't bring them into our property unless the farmer washes the tank out and all the plumbing first. That way we don't bring in any insecticides to the property. That's a requirement. Okay? I'm really strict on that, and I'm going to be working with these fellows for a period of time to kind of show them how I did it. That's worked really well. Okay? We also do, we don't take trades. I'm the only dealership in the whole San Joaquin Valley that does not take a trade in. Because I had an old boss that told me that's the best way to go under, is put all your profits into a bunch of used equipment out in the yard. So I offer consignment, okay? At first I thought the farmers would say, you gotta be kidding. You're not gonna take my trade in? I'm not buying a new tractor from you. It turned around the other way. They said, well, that's smart. That's a smart way to do it. So what we do is require the farmer to allow us to inspect the equipment. This equipment has to be fully serviced. If we find something wrong, it has to be fixed. And if they choose our service department guys to do the repair, fantastic. It's more revenue for us. More money in the pocket. So that's all worked out. So just in the last 2 days, I brought in $200,000 worth of consignment equipment from farmers within 3 miles of, 5 miles from here. So it's just a really good running business. And people from the community like to bring their equipment to us to have us service it. Now, some of the service is done out in the field by a service truck, our service truck. Okay, so any welding, not at our facility, out at the farmer's farm. That's a good way to prevent fires. And no painting, 0 painting. We tried it once, and it didn't work at our other facility. So it's a good business. And I think with generating, we're doing about $4 million. I think it'll be a really good tax revenue base for the city. I think you guys will appreciate the income. So I think it's why the red barn? It's a farm icon. If you think about it, you see a barn, what do you think? You think farm. And so it's pretty easy to remember. So that's why that facility was picked. Okay?
On your application, you mentioned that there will be hazardous materials. And I'm just wondering if you can tell me what that entails.
Waste oil. So we have a system that eliminates any spillage. We built our own, under the tractor trolleys, I guess you'd call it. It's steel tanks with an expanded metal top and on wheels with a suction system that we actually suck the oil right out of there, right to a 550-gallon containment tank, okay? Mm-hmm. Then the people we buy our oil from come and pull the oil out. We don't touch it. All the filters go into a drain system, and all the excess oil in those filters goes into that tank. Those filters are all hauled away by that same company, so we don't have to dispose of them. It's a clean system, and I'll give all the credit to my son. He developed the whole system.
Now, does this system have any hydraulics involved? I mean, are you jacking up these tractors, or do you have a lift?
No lifts. We have floor jacks, and then once something's lifted, it has to be supported with stands.
Right.
We built all our stands because the stands that you could buy at a supply store weren't strong enough.
So essentially, to do the oil change, you don't need to lift a tractor.
Yeah, you don't.
Due to its height, so you just push the tank right underneath, crack it open, and all the liquid, all the oil falls into that tank itself, where it gets reclaimed into the storage tank.
But to change a clutch, you got to split the tractor, and we have a system where the frame gets bolted to the tractor. It's on support wheels, so it's lifted support wheels, and the tractor's rolled away, split in half. So we have had 0 injuries.
In 16 years?
In 16 years.
Are you storing any fuels on your property?
No. I have a truck that has a 90-gallon diesel transfer tank in it. So it supplies fuel.
So it's on your truck?
It's on my truck. And we use that to fill the new tractors that come in.
One of the things that Caltrans asked for was some better trip generation numbers. And I noticed, for instance, you're looking at 5 parking spaces, but in one point in the application, you say you're going to have 5 employees. Another part, you say you're going to have 8. Now you're hoping for 12. I hope you have 60.
Let's go.
You know, so, but 5 parking spaces, what's up with that? How's that going to work?
So you're talking about employees, right? So employees are gonna we have, how many trucks do we have? Service truck 1.
Service truck, parts runner, delivery truck.
So we're gonna have 3 trucks that are gonna be part of the business. 1 truck's never gonna be there. The employee's gonna be out. So what I was talking about earlier was we're talking about hopefully doubling our employee count. But those people would be service trucks. They would not be there. So essentially it would be 3 people at the dealership at any given point. I do understand it's 5 parking spots, but the other idea was to park in the back somewhere. After talking to Brian, somewhere over by the house too, the employees, provided that we don't get that recycling center there.
So I'm looking at the site plan here. Thank you for putting that up. And there are 5 spaces. So where are the employees going to, where are the customers going to park? I'm assuming the customers are going to drive in too.
The idea is for that be the customer parking, yes. You're asking where the employees are going to park.
You got employees and customers both. I'm worried, that there's just not enough parking for either in your plan.
Backside of the bathroom.
On the right side of the bathroom, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of space there.
Do we have to have parking spaces for an employee?
Well, normally the city has requirements for any kind of commercial business for a certain number of parking spaces. There's a formula involved. I'm not sure what the formula is exactly. I should, but I don't. I'm sure you do. I know you do. So, but I know it's not 5. I know it's not 5 if you've got 5 employees. So that's why I'm asking. I mean, is it possible to increase the number of parking
Oh,
spaces?
yeah, there's a lot of room.
Well, I know, but I mean, can you do that as part of your planning? Yeah.
We could, I'm not saying no, yes. I mean, you tell me what I need to do so I can start.
Okay, then we'll leave it up to the city to tell you what you need to do there then.
Those are part of the conditions that are deferred.
Those are the those are part of the deferred conditions. I thought that was just the sewage and the water. So it's parking as well?
Yeah, it's site improvements.
Grading.
Yeah.
The grading too?
Paved parking.
Paved parking, yeah.
Well, I've actually walked that area a bit. And for you to be able to put in that taper, you're going to have some more grading. That's not going to happen without grading. I mean, unless you want people falling off the road.
Yeah, there's site grading and then there's specific improvement grading. If it's a requirement to do the taper up front, then they would have to put a base under it to lay smooth pavement.
Question for Diana and Jalen. Are there any concessions leeway because it's an existing site versus new build? I mean, is there any leniency with any of the requirements that would not create an issue for the city with deferring some of these items, if that makes sense?
Mm-hmm. We think, unless there's something specific that you have in mind, we think we've delayed all the ones that can be delayed. There needs to be some building improvements, of course, and that needs to go through a building permit process, but all the ones that have been delayed, we feel are comfortable delaying, with the one caveat of the Caltrans ones. I do think we need to talk about the Caltrans comments and kind of when the timing of those are.
I think probably the ADA stuff too. I don't know how much time there can be for those improvements.
Yeah, no, that's an upfront one, I believe.
ADA is a lawsuit trap. But the sprinklers, for instance, I mean, you have the coordination with Escalon Fire to determine if sprinklers are required. I think there's a document in here saying that, yeah, we want sprinklers from the fire department. Isn't that correct?
Which is the tank.
Just to caveat, in coordination with fire, it's an approved water, what do we call it? Water system?
Water system.
Water system, it's a tank.
Approved water system capable of supplying the required fire flow for fire protection shall be provided prior to construction.
So not a sprinkler system, a water tank system that provides water capable to fight a fire if there was one, for fire when they come on site. Separate from it's different than a fire sprinkler system.
But there's not any welding going to be done here, and you're not storing any kind of flammables
No,
inside the buildings?
no. You know, when we ran our business on Kernan Avenue, we didn't want any problems.
Yeah, you don't want to burn it down.
So we used our common sense to do it that way. We also involved Salida Fire Department. After we kind of set everything up, we put our waste oil container in a storage container and concreted the floor to retain anything if there was a spill. And the Salida Fire Department gave us double thumbs up and said, smart. Really a smart way to do it. And that was not connected to the barn. It was off to the side of the barn.
You're anticipating a similar setup here?
It's going to be very similar. It would be identical if we could just pick up the building and bring it over. But yeah.
We had ventilation in that container, ventilation so that when an employee goes in there to take care of the filters, drain the filters into the drain sump. We had plenty of ventilation windows, but we also had bars on it, so we wouldn't have some joker come along and throw we had expanded metal, so they could not throw anything that would create a fire. We did it all ourselves.
The only flammable liquid, if you will, any flammable item that we're going to have there is going to be whatever little fuel the tractors have, if any.
In the tank.
In the tank, I guess, which takes a super high flash point to burn oil.
Yeah, because it's all diesel.
Diesel, yeah.
No gas.
That's all my questions. Anybody have additional questions?
Again, last thing I'll say, I do hope you guys give us the most amount of time to take care of some of these items, as well as hopefully the license, so we can start.
If you're interested, I have some photos of what our facility looked like when we were finished up.
Sure.
I have some of those here. So, neat and clean, no weeds, all gravel. This is what we're going to fix up. Here's a close-up. I think that's the same picture. Duplicate, sorry.
This is your current Salida location?
The
new.
We moved out of there a year ago because the owner of the barn in Salida wanted his barn back for storage of
know where it is now.
tanks for Salida Ag Chemical. The owner owns Salida Ag Chemical. So we moved all of our business a year ago to our property 4.1 miles from here out on River Road. And I've been operating out of there. And it's not the same. It's a lot of work for me, but it's worked out.
The goal is to one day possibly be able to live up to his standards and actually get that place looking better, looking a lot different than that one picture you guys.
My retirement plan is to hopefully allow them to let me help out. I would love that, because I'm going to miss it. Been doing it for 46 years. Love it.
We're going to give him a break from his wife from time to time. Bring him over to work for us.
I mean, give his wife a break from him?
Well, she's been doing all of the clerical, all of the computer work, funding all of my consignees.
So you might have 2 employees.
She's ready to hang it up.
She is?
But I love her dearly. She's an awesome person. She's super smart. Thank you.
Staff, nor does the commission have additional questions? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there additional questions or comments from the audience? Are there any questions online?
No one with their hand raised.
Declare the public hearing portion over. Closed, excuse me. Discussion?
I think it's a great location. I think it's perfect. I mean, I didn't realize until yesterday that you already had the Red Barn name. I thought you called it that because you were wanting to go to this location. I can see how much the city values this application by the concessions that they've given you, that staff has given you. Personally, I've never, ever seen Diana give in to not having everything paved prior to opening, so it's a big deal. But the city does have a lot to gain from having your business in town. So I see no issues with how it's going to be set up, the conditions. I would like to see them have a little more time with being able to put in the water and sewer for sure. I would like to see that extended to the full 60 months. As long as you're going into this knowing what's going to be expected of you and and feel okay with what you're going to have to do, I don't see anything to be worried about on the city side of this, personally.
I have a question for staff. Say tonight we approve the conditional use permit. What would the next steps be for the business to open at that location?
So at that location, they would need to make whatever immediate conditions, improvements are specified here or otherwise. And they would need to go through the building permit process to get that up to standard for both buildings, the Red Barn and the restroom office building. In essence, that is what would be required. And then at some point there, a business license could be achieved. Now, if there's desire or if staff feels, in our interpretation, that a business license could be issued based on this approval, they could perhaps operate, technically off-site, and therefore not need the building improvements yet and some of the other improvements. So they could operate, generate revenue, and then when they get on-site, they would have to do the things that I specified.
And that would be ADA, fire suppression, which would be the tank, I'm assuming. The 5 parking spots that have been proposed, if we could.
I think those are there already.
They're already there.
Those are there.
They're existing.
Is it paved?
It's paved, yeah.
Okay. And then is the Caltrans immediate with the taper coming in and they moving to just one entrance exit?
Yeah, and Bill, city engineer, should probably chime in. We've wrestled with this one a little bit. We definitely think at least 2 of the conditions should be immediate, and probably, in thinking about it, the 3rd one should be immediate. But, it's, again, I think maybe you want to weigh in?
No, I certainly agree with Jalen that, all 3 should probably be at least underway during the process while they're going through the building permit process and while they're doing their architectural plans and building design for their interior improvements, to get an engineer on board that's going to be able to do the striping plan and establish an encroachment permit with Caltrans to move forward with the work.
We certainly don't want to make Caltrans mad right now.
We certainly don't want to create a safety hazard that the city takes risk for.
Mm-hmm.
So we can make that part of our conditions, that the work must be underway or that the work must be completed.
In progress.
Madam Attorney, do you have a thought on that?
I would imagine that you would want that in place before they're operational. So when they pull the permits. But I also would like, I think that staff could also chime in too as well.
And maybe it could be at occupancy, that Caltrans work needs to be completed, but not at building permit or some of the other stages, because once they get started, tomorrow on their architectural plans, that's going to take a certain amount of time. It's going to have to go through the building department. They could be processing those plans through Caltrans at the same time. Their building, improvements will get started, those sorts of things. But before they actually are finalized on their building and get occupancy, then the Caltrans permit should be completed. The Caltrans work should be completed.
Make it a condition of occupancy, perhaps.
That's an option.
That is an option.
So we could approve the conditional use permit and stipulate that certain parameters have to be completed by occupancy, and the applicant understands that they're going to have to go through the engineering and building permit process and ADA improvements. And I just want to make sure that, you're not going to be able to open your doors tomorrow. We want you here, and I think it would be a great use, but these things do take a little bit of time, and there are certain things that you just have to do that it's just required by the state.
Basically 29, 30, and 31.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
On the street improvements.
Oh,
29, 30, and 31.
if you're looking at the
would
screen
be-
right in front of me, that's what you're doing. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't want to mention that.
And fire.
28, I think, can be pushed out still.
Yeah.
Really, it's
I think we're talking 29, 30, and 31.
And the fire tank and ADA improvements.
which those are already
Up
up front.
Those ADA may not be specified in there, but in the exhibit, it is, we fully intend, and I'm glad you called it out, we fully intend that that is an upfront occupancy or whatever level improvement. It's a requirement.
Right.
Yeah, you can't delay that.
And we would also need to extend the time frame to 60 months on the sewers and sanitary sewer, 60.
We want to just do sanitary sewer? Do we want to?
Well, the entire, all of it, all of the sewer and the water. That's assuming we can, we have lines out there in 60 months. I think we'll be extending it again. Somebody will be.
So the third major item from Caltrans is number 29, correct?
Yes.
The turn lane?
Yes.
Everything else is already under streets. Consolidating the 2 proposed driveways and the right taper. Right?
Streets, consolidate the driveways.
Postponed.
We can reopen the public hearing if you'd like to. Public hearing has been reopened.
Trying to think logistically through things for these guys. My name's Jay Grover. I'm with Transworld Business Advisors. We're Andrew Dean back there. We're the business brokerage firm that's kind of managing the sale and the process. These guys have $1 million of sales already done, ready to execute tomorrow kind of thing. That's obviously revenue that would jumpstart and get things working. But understanding the things with the city have to be done in order and in process and get all that done. Would there be kind of a bridge to do where if these guys could continue to operate off of Dan's property for a short term while they get these improvements complete at the property here, and then once they've done and been approved by you, they can move things over. But having that permit would allow them to execute those sales now, get that revenue in, and not impact any traffic or any overstep with the property.
So are you saying just basically to get the conditional use permit approved and let them go ahead and get their business license, but they would not be able to operate out of that facility or have employees at that facility until these conditions were met?
Correct. For the right now, employees aren't needed. The sales are all done by Dan, Mario, Gus, and so they just need an office or some place to sit down and write up paperwork. They don't need to have this location immediately. That is obviously the end goal, but there's a lot of money at stake. We've been 2 years in this process at this point, from the time we started selling the company for Dan, and Mario and Gus have been in the closing process for 1.5 years, and it's been one hurdle after another. The bank has put these guys through the ringer. We haven't seen anything like it on any other deals we've done. It's just a litany of things that they've got to execute, and when you think you're all done, you turn around and go, oh, nope, here's the next list. And it's just kind of gotten deal fatigue at this point and kind of just wanting something to fall their way. But just thought if the employees aren't there, there isn't a need for a service bay or any of those things right now. They just want to get the sales going. Mario's approved as a dealer through 2 different manufacturers, and they can start shipping product to clients. So if using Dan's property, Dan and Judy are just sweethearts, and they've offered to let that be with a short-term, lease for a bridge, just to get them working, get them operational, get the revenue coming in, and that would tremendously help them be able to afford all the improvements and things that are to come here.
I don't think that would affect the city at all for them to do. I don't think that we even would have a say in that. I think that you can proceed with using the location that's been offered, and I don't see a problem with that.
We also have a SBA bank involved, and so SBA's, putting their money in here, and they want to see certain things in hand, and,
They're wanting to see a City of Escalon business license with their name on it.
He's like, we're all in here. We got a plan of action. The bank doesn't need them to be at that location day one either. They've already indicated to us they'd fund the deal and close escrow even if Dan and Judy gave them a short-term lease at their property. So they're just looking to try to get this thing, escrow's ready to close, the bank's ready to fund at a moment's notice. This is it. This is the last piece of the puzzle here. So as soon as they get a green light from Escalon, everything's off and running.
It'd really be a staff thing, right? You guys have something you would handle?
I believe if the commission were to approve the conditional use permit, that we could navigate the issue that is being raised by this gentleman. I believe we could do that at the staff level.
Our only role is to approve the conditional use permit, and then it falls on staff tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Any additional comments? Are you sure? Okay. And any additional comments online? This portion of the hearing is closed. Closed. Discussion?
Well, I think this would be wonderful for the community. I like the idea that we got the steel fabrication plant at one end of this development. Now, right off of 120, we're going to have this tractor sales going on. I think, and, improve the entrance into the community. With the improvements we'll do, that's all beneficial. Give us some much-needed tax revenue. I think it's a good project.
It's a good fit to the community.
Yeah.
It's also going to look much nicer than its current situation.
I said my piece.
I agree with everything that's been said. That makes it easy for me. Do I hear a motion?
So I think we should specify maybe almost by number or at least category, kind of walk through the conditions and the commission's preference on timing. And so hopefully someone took good notes, but we can kind of work together on it and go through it.
I took notes. I don't know how good they are.
We shall see.
We shall.
We want to start with timing. That might be the...
Well, we did discuss grading, but I don't think we talked about any kind of, other than all required additional parking shall conform. I don't know that we want to talk about any kind of delay on number 5. Let's see. And then you got the Caltrans, the street issues. How are we handling that? By occupancy? By are we applying a time frame here? Is that what we want to do?
I think occupancy.
I think occupancy for all of the ones that have to be done, that we're asking to be done now.
Okay, so that would be number 6. And number 7?
Mm-hmm.
The water system capable of supplying required fire flow, that as well?
Yep.
That's going to be required to open doors.
Yeah, it would be under any circumstances. Number 9.
Yep.
Okay, that's part of that. Site planning and grading conditions postponed for 36 months from the date of the first building permit issuance. Since that's not part of the public utilities, but it is part of the Liberty Business Park, do we take that to 60 or do we leave that at 36?
I'm fine with 36. I wouldn't say from the date of the first building permit issuance, so I would change that to occupancy also. Like, once they gain occupancy, that's when their timer starts.
Okay. So this becomes occupancy rather than 36 months.
Well, it's still 36 months from the date of occupancy instead of
okay.
from the first building permit issuance.
Let's see. Okay.
So site plan conditions is a little bit broad. Do we want to narrow that down any? I mean,
Which number are we looking at now? I'm not tracking.
The whole section,
The whole
10 through
section.
18. What do you mean?
so just the initial statement, the site plan and grading conditions shall be postponed for a period of no more than 36 months.
So that is 10 through 18.
From the date of occupancy.
Which I'm in agreement with. The site plan encompasses kind of a broad, I would take that to mean like completion of everything that's on the site plan.
In that case, it does mean items 10 through 18.
Okay.
And any reference to any broader is, I don't know, immaterial, I guess. It specifically means the conditions that are below that heading and description, 10 through 18.
Okay.
Do we want to address in any way an additional use as a number 19? Or should that just be set aside until?
Can we condition that? They can be allowed?
Yeah, okay, all right.
Again, I mean, there's things outside of our control. They would have to come to an agreement. The other applicant would still need to apply. It would
Come back here.
Yeah.
So then water becomes no more than 36 months, becomes 60 months?
Yeah.
Yes.
From date of occupancy?
From date of occupancy.
So that would affect 19 through 23.
Yes.
And the same thing on sanitary, I'm assuming.
Yes. And occupancy. Streets.
Again, streets, 29 needs to be moved to now.
Yep.
But the rest of them, I think the 36, or the couple, basically the frontage improvements really is what it is. So 36 months for frontage improvements.
And the rest at occupancy, prior to occupancy.
Sorry, can you restate that?
So 29 would move to like having to be done prior to occupancy.
Not a postponed or delayed
Not
condition,
postponed or
but
delayed.
a
Do it
Yeah.
now.
upfront
Yeah.
condition.
Per Caltrans.
And upfront conditions have been at occupancy, not
At occupancy, yeah.
And I would assume 30 would have to fall into that same category, would it not?
No, that's Caltrans driveway, that's like doing the official like concrete driveway.
Right.
So that to me is at the same time
I
as.
thought it was the consolidation of the three
site plan.
driveways.
No, that's already on
6 and 7.
6.
6 and 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
So will Caltrans allow that to
Yeah,
be
that-
deferred?
Good question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
So this will be 36 months from date of occupancy?
I think for the purposes of getting things rolling. We let Caltrans worry about Caltrans.
Yeah. And then the rest is just standard.
The rest of it is there. Yeah, okay.
Staff's good with all that? Got all that, Diana?
You want me to
Yeah.
repeat it?
I believe.
Yeah, I think.
This is gonna win the award for the most complex motion in Escalon history.
Oh no, this motion's gonna be easy. Watch this.
Everything we just said. Do you want to go through it?
How comfortable do you feel, Dinah?
I got it.
You
I
got
can repeat it. Let me repeat it.
Okay.
Okay. Number 6 through 9, we're changing to be at occupancy. 10 through 18, 36 months after occupancy. 19 through 23, 60 months after occupancy. 24 through 27, 60 months after occupancy. Number 29 is moving into the improvements that need to be done before occupancy. 28, 30, and 31, 36 months from occupancy.
Good job. Boom.
You are good. Do I hear a motion?
I motion to approve the conditional use permit as amended by the Planning Commission. I make the findings in support of the conditional use permit in accordance with EMC Section 17.56.030, and approve it subject to the conditions of approval as modified by us, and find the project CEQA Class 1 categorically exempt per Section 15.301 existing facilities, and direct staff to file a CEQA notice of exemption with the San Joaquin County Recorder's Office.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries 5-0. Okay. No further business on the agenda. Do we have staff communications?
We have matters presented by.
I'm sorry, what?
Matters presented by,
Oh, thank you.
just in case.
Matters presented. Are there any additional items from the audience? Hearing none. Are there any additional items online? Is anybody left online?
One person?
My wife.
My proud mom.
Maybe a family member.
Maybe they're watching together.
My cheerleader.
Okay, so hearing none, we will now turn to administrative matters. Are there any additional administrative matters?
Not tonight.
I didn't think so. Staff communications.
I have none.
In light of the lengthy agenda, we will move on, but no, we do not have any staff communications at this point anyway.
None from there either? Taking your cue from him. Let's
Are we
see.
having a meeting next month?
Yes.
Anticipating it, yes.
Most likely, we will have a meeting next month.
What could possibly come up? Are there any commissioner communications tonight?
We have a car show this Saturday, and we have a breakfast at the American Legion Post this Saturday.
What are you looking at me for? Well, the last time I went through, you guys ran out of food.
Go early.
Yeah, we start at 7.
Really? Line.
Communication? I have a question of staff. Thursday, we are commemorating, I believe, the 9/11. What time is that starting?
9/11.
It is 9/11, okay.
And that's put on by the fire district, not technically the city, but yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem.
But it's on city property, I believe, at the firehouse?
It's at the fire station, firehouse.
Station, yeah. I have no further questions.
Nothing for me.
Nothing, except I'm excited to see what you guys do. Welcome to Escalon.
And I believe that concludes our business tonight. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.
Good job, Chair. Way to go.
You only had to grab me once.